Mystic Path to Cosmic Power by Vernon Howard. Chapter 11. How to Truly Live as You Like. People resist any religion or philosophy that seems to limit their everyday pleasures of food, recreation, comfort, sex. Some people think that the higher life is intent on robbing them of the few pleasures they have in life. But any true and truly beneficial system does just the opposite. Its purpose is to show people how to enjoy earthly benefits genuinely while adding the kingdom of heaven. Do people really enjoy themselves? Not really. They fear the very pleasures they pursue. Food may make them overweight. The party ends at midnight. The lover goes away. The purpose of a true philosophy is not to take away anything beneficial, but to show people how to enjoy themselves in a newer and more bountiful way. The object of this book is not merely to supply you with something to read, but rather to awaken a personal witness of truth within you. That is the only thing that will ever give security and peace to an insecure and warring world. Suppose you wandered thirstily about the desert and finally discovered a green oasis from which you drank pure, refreshing water. Going on your way, you met a wanderer whom you told about the oasis. But, instead of believing you, he argued about its existence. He insisted that his scientific calculations proved no oasis could exist in that area. You were undisturbed by his insistence, for after all, you knew. Then, another wanderer appeared to profess his independence of your oasis, declaring he had his own. His desperate eyes told you otherwise, but you realized how useless it was to point out his self-deception. Regardless of the weary wanderers you meet in life, no matter how alarmed or frightened or scornful they are, you will retain your quietness. Nothing can shake you. You have personally refreshed yourself from such an oasis. Nothing can ever take away that experience. We must try to see the difference between talking about inner enrichment and the personal experiencing of it. Many people, in their unawakened state, blithely think that talking about is the same as the experience. What dreadful self-robbery. But you and I are all through with that. We talked for years and still remained thirsty. We are tired of it. We now want to know the truth from personal witness within. And that is what we can have. We can truly live as we like. The Great Search. Every man is making the great search, whether he is consciously aware of it or not. Everything he does, says, thinks, and feels relates to his quest to gain peace and avoid strife. He busies himself making money, building homes, raising families, attending meetings, all in the hope of winning the prizes. But, unknowingly, he makes a gigantic blunder. He mistakes emotional elation for self-happiness. He fails to see the difference between the passing thrill which he gets and the abiding quietude which he seeks. Over the years, his prizes turn out to be empty packages, but still, he does not awaken to his mistakes. I wish I could get over feeling that these ideas are sometimes harsh. What is wrong in having pleasant sensations, like holding hands with the opposite sex? You want to hold the hand of someone of the opposite sex. All right. Nothing wrong with that. But what about your distress when you don't have someone's hand to hold? What will you do then? Don't you see that true happiness is not in his or her hand? It is in something far greater. It is in self-freedom, whether or not you have the physical and emotional pleasure of a held hand. Try to see what is meant by this. I do, in a way. Then it is not harsh after all. I must simply see the whole picture, fair enough. The truth is not really harsh, it only appears that way because of our ignorance. If you see a careless bird in front of your automobile, you honk the horn, not to scare the bird but to save it. How can I make a success of these ideas? Success comes by remembering your purpose of self-release and forgetting useless distractions. So many people, when they have nothing to do, go ahead and do it anyway. Become aware of the many false authorities, exterior and interior, seeking to distract you from the great search. Unfortunately, many human beings are like blades of grass, swayed this way and that by every chance breeze of public opinion. They only know what to think after advice is given by someone they assume is wiser than they. Their feelings for the next hour are determined by the last person with whom they spoke. Whatever happens, they bend in the influenced direction. Worst of all, when nothing happens, they anxiously seek out an external authority, almost always a negative one, for they feel that the worst possible thing that could happen to them is for nothing to happen. Higher authorities exist. They are cosmic principles. Their cosmic character is so different that you can, with quiet attention, detect their superiority. They are compassionate invitations, not disturbing demands. They want nothing from you. They merely inquire whether you are now ready to receive their gifts. It is with these inner whisperings, these intuitive influences, that you solve the mystery of existence. You are unique. Shield yourself from distracting and false authorities by simplifying your efforts. Anything we can do to make things clearer and easier is wise. Over the years, I have worked at reducing profound principles to simple procedures. Let me pass on, for your use, a result of my work. You can call it the KB method by remembering the first letters in the 3 steps. 1. Knowledge. 2. Action. 3. Brightness. Knowledge. Make it your energetic business to find out what you don't know. Action. Put your knowledge to work with experimentation, self-observation, a willingness to change what must be changed. Brightness. Remain cheerful and encouraged by realizing that you can go as far as you want to go. KB results in what Eastern philosophers call moksha, liberation. Let the principle of repetition help you. Repeatedly read, review, discuss life-giving ideas, but do so alertly, not mechanically. Reading words without grasping their mystical meaning is like examining the menu after being served your dinner. Do you understand that cosmic insight alone brings emancipation? Do you see that your aim is to rise above your present self? Do you know that you have a special uniqueness? Stop acting as if the other person is unique and you are commonplace. That is idol worship which produces pain. Act as if you are unique, not from human vanity, but because it is so. You are unique. To really see it, we must first extinguish counterfeit uniqueness based on egotistical imaginations of our own goodness. As the human self fades, the true self appears. That is what is unique about you and me, and we had better start living that uniqueness. Even if you do not understand a principle relating to the better life, you need not go on misunderstanding it. Leave the mind at rest, thus making room for eventual comprehension. Be patient. If you simply let things come in their own natural way, you can handle them with natural intelligence. It is our unnatural forcing of life that causes grief. We cannot hasten tomorrow by ripping a page off the calendar. Neither need we be concerned with our mystic progress. It needs no force. Eventually, you will let each day dawn spontaneously with the realization that it is right because you are right. Seneca, a mystic who served as prime minister to Emperor Nero, showed clear insight by remarking that men are happy when beyond the influence of fear and desire. No man in constant trouble lives as he likes. So to live truly as we like, we need plans for keeping free of trouble. There are such plans. By trouble I mean both exterior difficulties and the disturbances churning around our minds and feelings. People head straight for trouble, like a runaway automobile, because they do not pay attention to these plans, which are higher truths. When a higher truth finally sinks into mind and heart, you never again suffer the penalty for not knowing that truth. You enjoy its radiating health permanently. Examples. By seeing the real meaning of life in inner advancement, we destroy painful feelings of futility. By refusing to limit ourselves, we expand far beyond our fondest dreams. By awareness of whatever may be false in us, we permit revelation of all that is true. By letting love be the perfect guide, we walk lightly. By union with our true nature, we never again suffer from a divided self. By realizing the limitations of thought power, we attain the greater power of conscious awareness. By being receptive to positive impressions only, we refresh ourselves minute by minute. What kind of impression are you making on yourself? It is self-enriching to find out. Every 24 hours you receive thousands of positive and negative impressions. They come from outside and within. You see a glittering lake, or you overhear a gloomy remark, or someone smiles at you, and you have 3 separate impressions. You silently recall an incident from yesterday, or wonder about tomorrow's weather, and have 2 more impressions. Impressions flow in a constant stream. You need do nothing to invite them, and you cannot stop them. But the kind of impressions admitted to your mind make your life what it is. Upon reaching a certain level of psychic awareness, you have the power to receive only healthy impressions, the cheery and helpful ones. If negative impressions come your way, you will be able to stop them before they penetrate to make you sad or upset. Unhealthy impressions are like thieves in the night, who steal your psychic riches, leaving you poor and exhausted. You cannot stop them from trying to enter, but you can prevent them from actually penetrating. By becoming aware of them, by exposing the thieves in the night, you destroy them. It is as if you have the magic ability to dissolve a flying stone before it strikes you. There are millions of beautiful impressions, and they are all for you. There are enough to make you a supremely happy man or woman. You need only exclude the unwanted impressions and welcome the happy ones. How to live as you like with others. If we think that other people can do us good, we will also think the opposite, that they can do us harm. It is an esoteric principle that neither is true. It is a subtle form of idol worship to think that anyone of himself does anything good or bad for us. However, others can be channels for our good. Genuine fulfillment arises from within yourself. To feel alive only when we are with another person is false vitality, which we fear losing with the loss of the other. By extinguishing that part of us which feels alive only when with another is to live truly. I want to give you a profound principle which, when absorbed, enables you to live as you like with other people. You cannot establish a solid and satisfying relationship with another through human devices, such as gifts, promises, persuasions, threats, flatteries. You might temporarily get what you want, but the relationship will not be a happy one, and it will most likely break up. Satisfying relationships can exist only between people who are more or less on the same high level of psychic maturity. They can enjoyably exchange endless benefits with each other on the psychic level, such as love and understanding. They can also, without tension, enjoy all the benefits of the human and physical level, like conversation, companionship, sex. But 2 people on a low level of maturity can only anxiously exchange gifts on the human level, for that is all they have. This leads us right back to the same conclusion. Raise your own level of psychic understanding, of mental maturity. Then you automatically attract people on your new level, and with them you can have happy relations. Picture yourself standing opposite someone, with circles drawn on the floor around each of you. The 2 circles represent psychological zones of influence, his and yours. Now, when meeting another person, do not enter his zone of influence. This means that you do not abandon your mind and emotions to him. It means that you are unafraid of him. Stay within your own circle of self-influence. You then maintain your integrity and command the situation. This does not mean that you dominate the other person in the usual meaning of the word. It means you are in perfect command, because you have no need to dominate. Here is a mystical mystery for you to ponder and solve. The greatest power on earth is no power at all. Flatly refuse to let anyone put pressure on you. In some cases, this means a calm but firm statement that he or she must stop it. When done correctly, it is a favor to both of you. A bully might resent being told to knock it off. But at the same time, he will like you, for he is secretly glad to find someone who isn't bluffed by his childish pressure. In other circumstances, perhaps in a husband and wife situation, where it is best not to speak up at the moment, you must refuse inwardly. This must not be done in anger, but in silent understanding of why the other person behaves so badly. The world is thick with tactless and overbearing people. We must, therefore, keep ready our inward refusal. Let no pressuring person make you feel pressured. You have the power to remain perfectly calm in every difficult and unexpected event in life. What to do with your day? I feel that my life is in the hands of other people. It makes me uncomfortable to realize that my peace is at the mercy of their changeable moods. No person has power to either give you happiness or take it away. Then how come I feel good with some people? Because you confuse happiness with pleasurable sensations. They are entirely different. Happiness is purely an inner state, unrelated to other people. Therefore, they can neither give happiness nor withdraw it. Think of someone you were madly in love with a few years ago. That person is the same. You feel differently. But I still feel good with some people. Yes, but try to see that this good feeling is not the same thing as enduring happiness. It is a sensation which is at the mercy of changeable people. Do you really think that life is so unfair as to place your well-being into the hands of fickle people? Sensations come and go. Happiness endures. But I want to enjoy people. You will enjoy them in a new way once you see the truth about this. You now have a painful fear of losing the pleasurable sensations derived from others. That will disappear. You won't be afraid to lose anyone from your life. You have awakened something I never sensed before. Remember that real happiness never changes. Regardless of exterior conditions, it just is. Happiness is a state of psychic understanding, not of emotional feeling. We must understand who we really are and why we act as we do. With that understanding, we can safely let glad feelings arise as they will. Such feelings are legitimate. There is no swing of the pendulum back to gloom. When you attend a gay party, do not try to take happiness from the people and the distractions. Happiness does not exist in those things, and you sense it, don't you? Go to the party in a state of self-awareness, and you will enjoy it like no one else in the room. Unlike the others, your enjoyment will remain with you after the ball is over. In Balzac's mystical novel, Louis Lambert, the question arises as to why we are here on Earth. Answer: because we have interior themes to develop and enjoy. So you see, you have much better things to do with your day than waste it in not living as you like. 4 steps to new harmony. You must never consent to a human relationship based in fear. This does not mean that you necessarily end the relationship, but you end the fear in it. Take these 4 steps. 1. Think of someone whom you fear in one way or another. You must honestly admit the fear, otherwise nothing can be done. Select someone with who you are in frequent contact. You will employ this relationship in building new courage toward everyone. 2. Act and think and speak toward this person in the way that you desire. Do not mentally submit to him or her. Crack your usual behavior pattern. Dare to risk offending him with your new independence. It is absolutely necessary that you dare risk offending him. You are afraid because you don't want him to get mad at you. Risk it. Let him get mad if he wants to. But assert yourself in very small ways at first. If you take too much at one time, you won't be able to make yourself do it. 3. As you act up, keep yourself emotionally uninvolved with whatever happens. Stand aside and observe the reactions and results, both within yourself and in the situation. Watch whatever occurs with an air of indifference to consequences. 4. Persistent practice will give you a new sense of independence, which, incidentally, you had all along, but didn't realize. Now, with awareness of your natural freedom, you can enjoy it. and you won't be afraid of any other human being on the face of the earth. As you do all this, you will observe a definite change in your attitudes and actions toward others. You are genuinely independent. You are not afraid of offending them as you used to be. You are free of the awfully anxious thought that they might leave you or not like you anymore. You command them in an entirely new way, through no command whatsoever. You let them behave as they wish, while you keep your peace whatever their behavior. To be free of other people, that is the goal. And that is authentic compassion, for freedom from others provides the psychic ability to love them. We have great capacity for harmony, which we can deliberately develop far beyond our present position. We must not carelessly limit ourselves to what we already have. We must not take the limit of our view as the limit of our capacity. Whenever you ask, "Can even this be transformed?" the answer is always, yes, even this. As an example, we can review a previous point. By living out the principles of the mystic path today, we free ourselves of the consequences of wrong human relationships of yesterday. An act of genuine compassion. Your happiness with others does not depend upon what they think of you. That is slavery and painful tension. Moreover, consider what your bondage is in the world. What do you suffer to keep the esteem of men you dislike? François Fenelon. Your happiness depends upon what you think of yourself. That is freedom and relaxation. To place your well-being in the hands of another is like wanting a painting of a colourful dawn, but meekly allowing the artist to paint what he prefers, perhaps a bowl of fruit. You must stop that. Even if it produces a temporary emotional crisis in you, which it will, you must stop it. You must please yourself as your inner integrity tells you to do, regardless of consequences. You must consent to nothing that compromises with what you know is right for you. And that inner voice is always telling you what is right, isn't it? I am annoyed by the shallow and often senseless behavior of friends and relatives. You say that the problem is my annoyance, not their behavior. I'd like to dismiss my negative reactions, but how? Don't believe that they can do any better than they do. A child of 5 can't behave like a child of 10. The same with adults. No one can possibly behave above his own level of understanding. Don't expect people to do any better than they are compelled to do at their present level. Your problem is in assuming that they should and could behave better. That is like thinking that a monkey should be as dignified as a deer. Understand this, and annoyance disappears. I get upset and confused when the people in my life get into trouble. I want to help, but don't know how. What is my responsibility? You must never take responsibility for another's mistake, and you must never sentimentally excuse it, any more than you excuse your own mistakes. A false sense of love or loyalty on our part robs the other person of the learning process. Even if the other person refuses to learn the lesson, that is his responsibility. This may seem harsh, but it is an act of compassion. Even Christ refused to take responsibility for those who refused his message. As you gradually awaken to mystical enlightenment, you will feel the urge to share your discovery with others. It is good and natural for you to pass along what the New Testament refers to as a pearl of great price. Because you will find others in various stages of receptivity, remember this. Never give more than others can understand and appreciate at the moment. This is cosmic law. To try to give what others cannot receive is like tossing a ball against a brick wall. It bounces back to strike you. Jesus explained this law by saying that we should not cast our pearls before swine, that is, before those whose incomprehension of truth makes them indifferent or hostile to it. But some will be eager to know more. With such receptive people, you will establish a radiant relationship unlike anything else on earth. You help each other to truly live as you like. When you don't know what to do. What questions are asked most often by seekers? People ask how to be free, how to work on themselves. People want to know how to proceed. And the answer? There are many excellent techniques. An individual can choose those best suited to his own taste. It is like a dozen upward trails winding up to the top of a mountain. A climber can start anywhere at the base of the mountain and hike upward. Please supply examples of profitable techniques. Observe yourself with the intention of seeing yourself as you actually are, not as you imagine you are. Read books by authors who have found the way themselves. Constantly realize that nothing stands in your way but your own conditioned mind. Get tired and more tired of not living your own life. Dare to think in new ways. There are hundreds of helpful techniques. Channel them into your single aim, self-insight, which provides self-freedom. According to the mystic path, what is positive action? Whatever is done consciously, with awareness, is positive action. Inner enlightenment is genuine action. Suppose a businessman likes to picture himself as highly competent. He may be competent in financial matters, but a family crisis leaves him confused. It is positive action for him to see that business skill cannot be transferred to family affairs. Seeing his weakness, being aware of it, his self-study can now add new profit. Then it is positive to notice negativities within ourselves, like weakness and guilt. Of course, nothing is more positive. Never forget, awareness of a negativity is the cure, the only cure of the negativity. But we don't like to see the dark side of ourselves. No, because you still identify with them. You take them as being vow, which they are not. Observe the dark features, but do not say I to them. This is a gigantic secret which you must explore thoroughly. The time will come when you can observe anger or anguish within you as being entirely separate from your natural self. You are then beautifully free. When you do not know what to do, you have no responsibility to do anything, except to be aware that you are lost. Do not do anything but that. Do not permit nervous anxiety to drive you to futile exterior activities. You are not shirking rightful responsibility when you refrain like this. You are wisely avoiding the consequences of muddled action. Clarity, clarity, clarity. Our first duty is to think clearly. Make it your rule to understand things, which you can surely do. Then, your action will be right. The most trivial act becomes dynamic when you attempt it with self-awareness. Whether you are washing dishes, or painting a table, or simply walking from one room to another, try to be aware of yourself doing just that. Don't just paint or walk, but be conscious of yourself painting or walking. This detaches you from the dream state in which most people live. It puts you in touch with your energetic center self. Any action performed with self-awareness becomes inspired. You can start the great change. How do you learn to live as you like? There is nothing at all complicated about it. You start living as you like. And you can do that by ceasing to involve yourself with activities and people you don't really enjoy. You know what they are. Your deeper self tells you of the things you do from a false sense of duty, from false loyalty, from public pressure, from trying to please unpleasant people so that they will be pleased with you. Learn to live as you like by no longer living as you dislike. But you must rebel against your own mental chains and nothing else. You will miss it entirely if you become a social reformer, or if you strike against people whom you think are keeping you down. No offensive individual and no social silliness can keep you down. We are responsible for our own chains, and we are capable of our own liberation. I resist some of these ideas because I feel they may take away things I don't want to give up. Like what? Like living my own life as I see fit. Are you living your own life? I suppose. Does it make you happy? Well, not really. Then are you truly living as you like? Or are you unconsciously enslaved by false ideas of what it means to live your own life ideas, incidentally, imposed upon you by a confused society? When you really live as you like, you are genuinely happy. That makes sense. Empty your mind of the belief that you already know what it means to live as you like. Don't be afraid of the emptiness. There is nothing to fear. Remain with it, and one day it will be filled with an amazing revelation. Suppose a law were passed denying us the right to speak or write any words containing the first 10 letters of the alphabet. Such a law would produce frustration and nervous tension. Because it would be unnatural and unnecessary, it could not be obeyed, even by those who sincerely tried. Likewise, all negativities are unnatural and unnecessary to us. People live tensely frustrated lives because they wrongly assume they are subject to prohibitive laws. There are no prohibitions to liberty. There is only a false belief in them. A man is a problem to himself because he does not live from the facts of life. This could be remedied all right, except for another problem. A man will not persistently shove aside his illusions, which he thinks are facts, in favor of facts, which he thinks are illusions. But he can reverse things. He can change. Goethe, the German poet and dramatist, showed sharp insight into this when he wrote, "Man seeks his inward unity, but his real progress on the path depends upon his capacity to refrain from distorting reality in accordance with his desires. To start the great change, you must rise up and declare with all the power within you, 'I have lived this frustrating way all my life, but regardless of what now happens to me, I flatly refuse to live that way any longer.' You may do this with fear and trembling, but never mind, just do it. Yes, that pressure too. That can also go. I mean the one you have about your finances. You want to know whether there is a way to get by financially without being a slave to the time clock and to the dread of another wasted day, doing what you don't want to do. Yes, that can go too. You can truly live as you like. Special points to remember in this chapter. 1. You can truly live as you like. 2. Let cosmic principles guide your great search. They never fail. 3. You find your genuine uniqueness by working patiently with the ideas of the mystic path. 4. We remain free of trouble when we learn to receive positive impressions only. 5. There is a right way and a wrong way to live with others. You are now studying the right way. 6. We have better things to do with our day than waste it in undesirable states of mind. 7. Do not mentally consent to a human relationship based in fear. 8. Please yourself as your own integrity directs. 9. As self-awareness grows, you become more skilled in human relations. Everything brightens. 10. Start the great change today. Live as you truly like.